A week after 7 pit bulls attacked her, a Taylorsville woman is now dead. I reached out to a local terrier association to get their expertise on the breed and weigh in on the rumors it's a dangerous dog.
Hundreds of Uinta County residents are speaking out against a proposed 73% property tax increase. Well, county officials say that money will be used for.
Now, after the rain and snow, we get the cold. How far will temperatures drop? And do we see a rebound? I'll let you know in the forecast.
He says he's not a hero, but he is a hero.
Her life was saved by an off-duty firefighter after she crashed into a canal.
She's the one that told me I had to come back.
Tonight, her incredible recovery and what she remembers while submerged in the water.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Evans. We begin tonight with a sad update to a story we've been following in Taylorsville. A woman is dead 1 week after 7 dogs attacked her. She suffered critical injuries and had to have her leg amputated. Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser got a statement from her family and sat down with the local pit bull owners to get their reaction to this tragedy.
I spoke to members of the Salt Lake Terriers Association who own pit bulls and want to stand up for their favorite dog. They say it's not in the dog's nature to be aggressive toward humans. Inside the Wise family's living room, their love for the American Pit Bull Terrier is literally on every wall.
Just the most intelligent, loyal heart dog that you could have. Once you have one, you usually don't have anything else.
They're both members of the Salt Lake Terrier Association and spend their free time competing their dogs across the country in the wall climb, the weight pull, and the treadmill race.
There's probably over 100 dogs registered at the show. And there was not one incident, not one bite, not one dog off leash. We had no incidents. And that's just people that know what they own, the kind of dog they own, and that's being responsible for that dog.
On Halloween, a 63-year-old Taylorsville woman was attacked by 7 of her son's pit bulls. She succumbed to those injuries Monday, and all of those dogs have been put down. Association President Aaron Wise says attacks like these come down to responsible ownership.
You shouldn't let 7 dogs just run loose in your backyard. Doesn't matter what kind they are. I mean, they turn into a pack mentality, and bad things can happen.
Dina Dimler-Wise also wonders whether the dogs were a mixed breed.
A lot of times pit bulls is a blanket term for any dog with a big head that, you know, it's unfortunate because so many people mislabel pit bulls and really don't even know what the true American Pit Bull Terrier is.
On Tuesday, the family of the woman who died released a statement saying, "Our family would like to thank the dispatcher for staying on the phone with our mother, the police officers that didn't hesitate to get to her as soon as possible. We'd also like to thank the paramedics, nurses, the doctors, the trauma team, and everyone that helped our mother. Thank you for your thoughts and prayers."
I wouldn't blame it all on the dogs. I mean, it's terrible what happened, but that's not the dog I know.
The Wises are asking anyone who wants to learn more about pit bulls to reach out to the Salt Lake Terrier Association. The purpose of the group is to educate local owners, encourage responsible ownership, and promote the breed. Reporting in Taylorsville, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The Utah Highway Patrol has identified the woman killed by a pickup truck last night in Logan as 58-year-old Shelley Compton of North Logan. It was just after 5:30 p.m. yesterday when Compton was jogging on 1400 North at about 750 East. A pickup truck driver was passing a semi in that area and did not see Compton come in front of them before hitting her. She died at the hospital. Federal Judge Bruce Jenkins, who had sat on the bench in Utah since 1978, died today. He was 96 years old. Jenkins is best known for presiding over the case of the Downwinders. They contended nuclear bomb testing sickened and killed them or their families. An appeals court overturned Jenkins' ruling in the plaintiff's favor, but the case spurred Congress to compensate the Downwinders. Jenkins took a lighter caseload as he got older, but Earlier this year, he awarded $10.5 million to the family of a woman beheaded by a traffic control gate in Arches National Park. In an interview earlier this year with Fox 13 News investigative reporter Nate Carlisle, Jenkins recalled his days in state politics. He served as president of the Utah Senate in the mid-1960s, the last Democrat to hold that post.
Where more than 208 individual agencies reported directly to the governor. It was impossible. And so I wrote and sponsored what became known as the Little Hoover Commission. So I think the effort on the part of people to do some good where they can is admirable.
That commission reorganized state government into more manageable departments. Jenkins is survived by his wife, Peggy. They married in 1952 and had 4 children. Here's another update on a story from last week. Uintah County residents are outraged as the county commission is proposing a 73% property tax increase. Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree shares their concerns from Vernal and shows us why officials say the county needs this money.
Going down and making comments by elected officials.
This is just an amazing place, and our costs have always been affordable to live here. And you know, I just hate to see that go away.
Hundreds of residents poured into the Uintah Conference Center Tuesday night to make their voices heard.
A lot of people, single parents and stuff like that, with this kind of tax increase that will end up homeless. Because this economy right now, you go to the store to get your grocery shopping, it's unbearable there. So now they're wanting to impose this on us when the commissioners make $96,000 a year, plus all their little other expenses they get given to them, and that's not fair to this community.
For the average price $292,000 home in Uintah County, the tax increase is about $175 a year. For businesses priced the same, it would be $318.
What we're trying to do is make it so that we can provide the things that we need to our community, but we also have a responsibility to our employees. Just because the cost of living goes up for everybody else, it doesn't mean that the county employees are not subject to that same rise.
Commissioner John Larson says after the previous commission lowered taxes year after year, the county is now catching up.
We realize that nobody likes a tax increase, but it is an evil necessary sometimes. The cost of things going up, the inflation.
But Bart Haslam, a former commissioner, says there's no reason for taxpayers to have this big of an increase.
Uintah County should have the lowest tax rate of any county in the state because we have the blessing of having oil and gas and minerals here.
The county's budget is still being finalized, and any increase wouldn't take effect until 2025. The commission is set to make a decision on the budget in December. Reporting in Vernal, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Take a look at this. This is in Big Cottonwood Canyon, and the snow is coming. Is this happening all over northern Utah, Breck, or just in the canyon?
Just mainly in the Cottonwood Canyons. We're seeing some snow showers over the Oquirrh Mountains, so it's in limited areas, but it's definitely making a mark right now, giving us a dose of some winter here as we're seeing these colder temperatures. Yeah, we've seen another rush of some moisture and some showers here across northern Utah. A line pushing through where it's been moving away from Weber and Davis County, focusing across the Salt Lake Valley over towards Tooele County. We showed you up Big Cottonwood Canyon. Now a view from the Oquirrh Mountain camera, the snow falling, piling up, where we've seen the snow accumulations mainly over the higher terrain. Let's show you over the past 24 hours where for the canyons picking up 8.5 inches of new snow. Alta specifically with the Collins there, 7 inches. As we take a look at most of these locations with the ski resorts, these are not base amounts. This is a little bit higher up where we can see Sherwood Hills up Sardine Canyon picking up over 5 inches of new snow here over the past 24 hours, and Deer Valley coming in at 6 inches of new snow. Now for most of the valleys we've been seeing the precipitation with rain showers mainly, quite a bit of it up in Cache County, over 3/4 of an inch as you can see in Logan, Huntsville, just over 1/2 an inch. Moving further southward, the less accumulation there or precipitation amounts, but even just over the past couple of hours, it's really been picking up even at the airport, where we've picked up over 1/4 of an inch here over the past 24 hours. Now, the front has been moving through the state, now moving towards portions of southern Utah. We're seeing a little bit more active weather along I-15 between Cedar City up through Beaver. It's kind of a mixture of some rain and snow. Here along the Wasatch Front, again, as we talked about, in limited areas, we're seeing that rain in the valley, snow in the mountains, but snow levels have been dropping closer towards the benches as colder air continues to funnel in there. Where we're getting a little bit of enhancement there from the lake, mainly impacting the west side of the Salt Lake Valley. We look upstream, drier air moving in, but again, highs today only in the 50s here along the Wasatch Front. It's been a cool one as temperatures will continue to drop. How cold will it be tomorrow, and how's the rest of the week look? We'll look at that coming up in just a bit.
All right, Breck, thank you so much. Israel says it is operating now. Its troops are operating in the heart of Gaza City. And while that is happening, the State Department says more than 400 U.S. citizens and residents have now left Gaza. About 600 more eligible citizens and green card holders are believed to be waiting to cross into Egypt. The State Department says Israel, Egypt, and Hamas are all involved in controlling border access. The U.S. is continuing to work with Israel and Egypt. More than 200 hostages are still being held by Hamas. Utah's special election is in just 2 weeks, but tonight results are coming in for several state elections around the country. In Rhode Island, Gabe Amo, a former aide to President Biden, has won the House special election there. He is now the first black person to represent Rhode Island in Congress. Philadelphia has elected its first female mayor, Sherelle Parker. In Kentucky, Democratic Governor Andy Beshear has won re-election over Republican Daniel Cameron, who was endorsed by former President Donald Trump. And in Ohio, a measure in the state's constitution to protect abortion access has passed. That marks the latest win for abortion advocates since Roe v. Wade was overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court last year. Tonight, Fox 13 News has 3 exclusive stories you don't want to miss.
He says he's not a hero, but he is a hero. He jumped in that water and he cut my seatbelt and he pulled me out.
She was trapped underwater when her truck crashed into a canal until an off-duty firefighter saved her life. Tonight, the woman who was rescued speaks only to Fox 13 News. Plus, a painting covered up at the Utah Supreme Court for decades can now be seen. Why it's no longer being hidden.
He knows how to turn my bad days to a good day, and I really appreciate it.
And one student is hoping her favorite singer, Post Malone, pays her a visit next month. How he's made a big difference in her life. Salt Lake City is asking a judge to throw out a lawsuit over homelessness. 9 people sued the city, asking a judge to force the city to abate homelessness and unsanctioned camping. But in a legal response obtained by Fox 13 News, the city says what the plaintiffs want is for the city to remove all unsheltered people from its borders. And that's not realistic. They say the plaintiffs see the unsheltered not as individuals, but as a nuisance to be gotten rid of. City lawyers call it the stuff of science fiction and not reality. Salt Lake City Mayor Aaron Mendenhall's plan for a buffer zone between the Great Salt Lake and the inland port is getting some major financial support. Earlier this year, Fox 13 News reported on plans for a shoreline preserve that would act as a buffer between the lake and encroaching development. Mayor Mendenhall pushed it at the request of environmental groups. Well, today, the Great Salt Lake Watershed Trust gave the city $2.2 million to proceed. The trust is a fund created by the legislature with the goal of helping to protect the Great Salt Lake. TikTok is planning to appeal a judge's ruling forcing it to hand over documents to the state of Utah. In a new court filing, the social media giant asks the judge to halt requirements that the company comply with state subpoenas. That's so it can appeal the decision to a higher court. The Utah Department of Commerce subpoenaed TikTok as part of its investigation into alleged harm caused by the platform to youth mental health. The state also filed a lawsuit against TikTok. New data shows teen vaping rates are dropping here in Utah. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows middle and high school vaping rates dropped from 14% to 10% between 2022 and 2023. Overall, Utah's Department of Health and Human Services says youth vaping rates have been declining. In 2019, it was 12%. Now it's 7%. But the agency argues youth remain a target of tobacco marketing. Construction is beginning on a new reservoir in southern Utah. The Toker Dam will be 3,700 acre-feet near the Tokerville exit off I-15. The reservoir's dam will be 125 feet tall and 1,200 feet wide. It's part of a larger project that will be an alternative water source for Tokerville. The overall Ash Creek project will cost about $94 million. Go back to weather. This is a live look at I-15 at Point of the Mountain, and of course down there in Bluffdale you can see the raindrops on the camera lens. We're not getting snow down there yet, are we?
Not yet. We're keeping the snow levels above the valley floors here. Kind of along the benches is where we see the transition zone between the rain and the snow, as these showers mainly impacting through Salt Lake Valley, turning towards Utah County, and then they'll quickly move off towards the south. Yes, colder air dropping these temperatures, where we might see a transition of a mixture of some rain and snow briefly before this next wave does move on towards central and southern Utah. But today, the cold front coming through. We started off the day with rain in the valleys, snow in the mountains, as we're holding on to mainly rain showers here throughout the afternoon into the early evening hours. We got a high of 50 degrees in Salt Lake City. You can see that's below average. Recall yesterday we were in the low 70s. We weren't record breaking, but close to it, where we've seen almost about a 20 to 25 degree swing here with these cooler temperatures and this cold front that's been marching through the state. Outside right now, as we give you a view across the Salt Lake Valley, we're still holding on to the rain, where current temperature well above freezing, so that's why we're seeing the rain showers. As you look in Utah County, current temperatures in the upper 30s, but temperatures will be dropping, where in the overnight lows waking up tomorrow morning will be near freezing temperatures, but again the showers would have pushed away where it's not going to be much of an issue. So initially seeing some showers, quickly turning off once we get past midnight here across northern Utah. Then the focus turns towards central and southern Utah, but that also quickly moves on. We'll see some cooler temperatures and some dry days ahead. Yeah, we're going to kind of have an extended period of time where we do get a break from the storms. Now, this storm not making a big mark in that we don't see any watches and warnings right now, so no wind advisories, no winter weather advisories for the mountains. We're going to see little activity as we move forward. But there's the position of the front, as we're starting to see, again, some rain showers between Beaver and Cedar City, also impacting areas such as Milford. But here across the Wasatch Front, things really are improving, except Tooele, Salt Lake County. That's where we're seeing, again, mainly rain in the valley, snow in the mountains. You're starting to see that transition, the change of color as we go from green to that white and purple, where we're seeing the snow over the Oquirrh Mountains and again throughout the Cottonwood Canyon. So it's going to be fairly active for the next hour or so, then things do improve. Let's take a look at our computer models, where we have the showers here across the Salt Lake Valley. You see by midnight, boy, they quickly dissipate, with some light precipitation turning towards central, southwestern Utah. Again, it's a mixture of some rain and snow. You're seeing the green, the blue, quickly moving on though. Waking up early tomorrow morning, we've got some clouds across southeastern Utah. Really, we're not seeing the showers there. We'll quickly push away. As we move through the day, we see the sunshine. We're getting rid of the clouds, but we'll have that cool northerly flow. That'll keep temperatures suppressed, where highs today in the 50s. Tomorrow, we're only looking at highs in the 40s, but we're clearing out. We're seeing the sunshine, and we'll keep it clear as we go into tomorrow and Thursday as well. Chilly night though. Look at these overnight lows down into the 30s here along the Wasatch Front, 20s in Logan as well as in Park City, Central Utah. You're going to be turning temperatures down there where you're in the 20s and 30s and low 40s in St. George. You might see a sprinkle briefly early tomorrow morning for St. George, but then you're clearing out. You've got sunny weather ahead, but it will be cooler. Highs in St. George in the low 60s, upper 50s of Moab through Central Utah. It's 40s as well, and turning towards the north and here along the Wasatch Front. Again, those highs will be in the upper 40s. St. George, as we've got 60s, you've got sunshine. Could see some breezy canyon winds tomorrow though, and then we turn into the mid 60s for the weekend, and then returning to the 70s, at least low 70s by Monday. But as you can see, next 7 days it's dry. We've got the sunshine. We're keeping the rain, the showers, and the storms away, and keeping the rain and snow away from the Wasatch Front where it's cool Wednesday and Thursday. Then it's 50s. Look at the weekend though. Low to mid 50s. You've got the sunshine, and we go back into the 60s by Monday and Tuesday. So not a bad forecast. We're getting rid of the showers after tonight. We'll be back right after the break.
Despite filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, the office-sharing company WeWork will keep its 4 locations in Salt Lake City and Lehi open. That's according to our content partners at the Salt Lake Tribune. Chapter 11 bankruptcy allows WeWork to restructure while remaining operational. WeWork was once one of the most valuable startups in the country, estimated to be worth $47 billion in 2019. Now it has lost 98% of its value. Court filings indicate WeWork says it has $18.6 billion in total debt. Utah State University's Teacher Academy program is seeing great success in Logan classrooms. The program teams USU students with teachers in the Logan City School District. Today, USU President Elizabeth Cantwell visited Adams Elementary to see the program in action.
I'm really thrilled to be able to see how our student teachers working side by side with teachers in the classroom, and really amazing things evident in how our students, the students in the classroom, are behaving around their learning.
Since the program started, early literacy scores for kindergartners have shot up to 96% proficiency. The head of Logan Elementary Schools says it has been life-changing for the students and will lead to improved outcomes at every grade level.
The woman who was saved by an off-duty firefighter after her truck crashed into this canal is now sharing what she remembers from the minutes she was submerged underwater.
A group of Utah lawmakers say justice courts, the places you may go for speeding tickets or other misdemeanors, are in need of a revamp. Coming up, hear their possible solutions for the current system.
Behind this door is a painting that's been hidden away for decades, and I'm going to show it to you.
A West Valley City High School special needs student putting out an invitation to one of Utah's most famous residents in hopes he'll come see her in her school play next month.
Bryson Barnes had a great game against Arizona State. They'll need him once again against Washington. We'll hear from the Utah quarterback and his teammates coming up.
In a Fox 13 News exclusive, the woman who was saved by an off-duty firefighter after her truck crashed into a canal in Tremonton has made an incredible recovery. Fox 13 News reporter Darian DeBrule has her harrowing story.
Almost 6 weeks ago, nobody knew if Cynthia Bagley would be alive today, after her truck crashed into a Tremonton canal while she was traveling to get discounted cereal.
I remember leaving home, and I remember a dark road, and it was shiny, probably from the rain. I wanted to make sure that my grandchildren got cereal.
Although there are few details she remembers, she experienced feelings she'll never forget in the minutes she was underwater.
It was very warm, relaxing, beautiful. I seen one of my aunts and my cousin that had passed, and my best friend that died from cancer 4 years ago. She's the one that told me I had to come back, that it wasn't my time.
Cynthia spent 1 week in the ICU and another on the hospital floor. She credits the hospital angels for helping her make an incredible recovery.
Somebody had videotaped me walking in the halls, And I had told the nurse that I knew her from giving me my breathing treatments. And the first thing I said to her was, I don't want to die. And she's like, no, you're not going to die.
In the weeks since the accident, the cereal company donated over 100 bags of cereal to Cynthia's family, and she was reunited with the man she calls her hero, off-duty firefighter James Munns.
I'm not a hero. I just doing what I thought was right.
He says he's not a hero, but he is a hero. He jumped in that water, and he cut my seatbelt, and he pulled me out.
Now the loving mother and grandmother is back home in Hiram.
Yeah, that's my grandson. We go
with an even greater zest for life, you can see in her smile and eyes.
It's meant a lot to me to know that we have ground angels, air angels, and the people that prayed for me. I am really wanting to do this interview because there's so much war, hate, and death in this world. I wanted something happy to come out of this.
James Munns, the off-duty firefighter that saved Cynthia, was on duty today and unable to do an on-camera interview, but he tells me he's glad Cynthia is back home with her family and well. In Tremonton, I'm Darian DeBrule, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The state capitol will be getting a new monument, which officials say recognizes an unsung part of Utah's history. The Chinese Railroad Workers Descendants Association broke ground today for the new monument on the Capitol's south lawn. It'll honor the thousands of Chinese rail workers who helped build the Transcontinental Railroad, which was completed more than 150 years ago, connecting by rail the east and west coasts of the United States.
We're learning more and more as we excavate Terrace, Utah, and as we are looking at some of the artifacts. But their stories haven't been told. Their stories have largely been lost to history or ignored or changed in some way.
This will be the first monument away from Promontory Point to honor the Chinese rail workers. If you'd like to donate to the construction, go to crwda.org. Some state lawmakers want to overhaul Utah's justice courts. That's where you go for traffic tickets and misdemeanors. Fox 13 News reporter Lucy Nelson explains what those lawmakers want to change.
Justice Court is where you're most likely to have your first court experience in Utah.
So if you live in Duchesne, then the Duchesne Municipal Court would handle speeding tickets, handle minor misdemeanors, handle small claims matters and stuff like that.
Sounds simple, but in many cases, Justice Court can be just the first stop.
The individual who steals a candy bar at 7-Eleven, the case gets filed currently in the Justice Court. And if they're convicted, they could, if they desire, appeal it, and then the case starts all over again in a district court. The reason for that is because justice courts are not courts of record.
That's right. If you appeal, the whole process has to start over in district court. That's because there's no permanent record of what happens in justice court. So you and the prosecutors have to go through the same trial again, and that costs time and money.
It's a resource problem, right? We're having a prosecutor file a case and take it through the process again in a district court. That's taxpayer dollars that are paying for the prosecutors and the judges to take it through that process.
And there's another problem. What happens in justice court can vary from one county to the next.
Part of the idea is that because you have justice courts that are all over the state in various cities and counties, that the way they administer those is not necessarily consistent. You know, some courts have a bigger budget, some courts have bigger facilities, some cities have more judges.
So what do we do about it? Senators Pitcher and Cullimore are part of a committee that met at the Capitol Tuesday to talk about possible solutions.
Either it's a new system within the district courts or a new state court system altogether.
It's all in the idea stage right now, but members of the committee agree something needs to change.
I'll make a motion that we favorably recommend this joint resolution supporting justice court reform to the Interim Judiciary Committee.
On the Hill.
All in favor say aye. Aye.
Lucy Nelson, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Coming up, this painting has been covered up at the Utah Supreme Court until now. Why it's finally been revealed after decades.
RSL season continues as they make a run in the playoffs after a great PK shootout. We'll hear from the guy who kicked the game winner.
How one community-driven farm in Ogden is helping feed people in need.
It's a work of art that has been hidden in the most unlikely of places until now. But some of the state's most powerful people have made a change. Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow has the exclusive story.
Behind the Utah Supreme Court justices deciding some of the biggest legal issues facing the state, there's been a massive piece of art. But it hasn't really been seen until recently.
It just draws you in to this storm on canvas, if you will, and his colorization and his ability to take landscape and abstract it in a way that just caused inspiring feelings inside.
It's called Capitol Reef. It was painted by the artist Doug Snow in 1997 and installed in the Supreme Court chambers at the Matheson Courthouse. It was originally intended to be called Conflict and Resolution.
I got to watch him paint it.
Frank McIntyre is an artist and a friend of Snow's. He wrote a book about Snow's work, merging landscapes with colorful abstracts.
And all it takes is one person to kind of get it under their craw to not like something, and they can turn the whole thing around, and that's what happened to that particular painting.
Shortly after it was installed, the painting was hidden away behind a massive curtain. Some called it distracting. It stayed hidden behind this curtain for decades, only coming out when the court wasn't in session.
It was very disappointing to many of us.
But suddenly it appeared again. I noticed it when the Utah Supreme Court held hearings earlier this year. The curtains were open and the painting was on full display, and it was for subsequent hearings. The state's top court has undergone some changes recently, and it appears the justices are majority art lovers. The justices declined a request to talk on camera about the painting, but did give a response in writing. We understand that some of our former colleagues worried that the painting might be a distraction from the important business of the court, they wrote. Although we respect the decision of the justices that came before us, the court, as currently constituted, no longer believes the curtains are necessary. They also weighed in on the painting's theme, saying their decision to keep it on display reflects how the court itself handles diverse viewpoints and disagreement. Just as there will inevitably be conflicting views on difficult questions of laws, there will also be disagreement over particular pieces of art. We understand that some people like the painting and others do not. Diversity of thought is healthy. To us, the painting represents the ability of individuals to hold differing opinions while still respecting each other and each other's views. As a community, we must find ways to talk to each other civilly, especially about matters on which we disagree.
Come and see and be able to partake of your own tax dollars and feast your eyes on this great piece of Utah art.
At the Matheson Courthouse, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Coming up, a Utah student shares how much Post Malone means to her as she invites him to her school play. And we'll show you around a volunteer-driven farm in Ogden where they're growing fresh produce to donate to people in need.
The Utes are going to need another great game from quarterback Bryson Barnes to beat the Huskies. We'll hear from him and his teammates. And RSL's playoff run is still alive after a penalty kick shootout. How do they pick the PK order? And what was it like kicking the winning goal? That's coming up in sports.
Here is a story you will only see here on Fox 13 News. A special needs student at Hunter High School will be performing in a school play next month with an all special needs cast. As Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold shows us, she's invited a famous special guest living here in Utah to watch her perform.
This is Caitlin Thornwall.
My house is
practicing her reading,
a place to live,
and math
equals 15.
with her teacher's aide, Lindsay Carter. Cerebral palsy doesn't hold this Hunter High School sophomore back from being a fabulous student with a lot of passion. That is evident especially when it comes to her idol.
Posty, I love you. This is your #1 fan.
You don't have to look too far to see how much she adores the rapper and singer Post Malone. From these stickers attached to her wheelchair,
Because he's wearing a halo.
to her even naming her wheelchair and the baby from her child development class after Posty, to her clothing.
And it has Posty's wonderful face on it.
Caitlin getting emotional on Tuesday when talking about the impact the award-winning artist has had on her life.
When I first started listening to him, I was moving out here, and he just turned that hard time for me from a hard time to a smile. He knows how to turn my bad days to a good day, and I really appreciate it.
Seeing her love for Post Malone, Carter got an idea to make this video.
I am performing Finding Nemo Jr.,
a school play with an all-special needs cast. The video allowing Caitlin to personally extend an invitation to Posty.
I would love to see you there. I really want to meet you, and I love you, Posty. Mwah.
While there is no guarantee the award-winning artist will be able to make it, Carter felt it was worth a try.
She just has some real dedication for him, and I thought it would be special if we could get her name out there so that at least he would know who she is.
And for Caitlin?
Posty, I know you're really busy, but I really hope you can make it and just come and see how amazing this performance is gonna be.
Well, for Posty or anyone else who wants to come out and support Caitlin and this great group of students, that school play, Finding Nemo Jr. will take place here in the auditorium behind me at Hunter High School on December 7th, beginning at 7 p.m. Here in West Valley City, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Wouldn't that be great if Post Malone was watching tonight and accepted her invitation? We'll keep you posted on that. A volunteer-driven farm in Ogden is growing fresh produce to donate to those in need. Fox 13 News reporter Maithili Gubi shows us how they're doing it.
So we're gonna have multiple bags of harvest today.
Growing fresh veggies and greens.
Isn't that just baby bok choy?
Yeah, baby bok choy. To help those in need.
I'm really excited to feel like we can provide fresh fruits and vegetables for those who may not be able to get it. Like
volunteers like Kylie Davis.
I've been gardening with my grandpa since I was little. And honestly, this brings back childhood memories.
Help at Grow Ogden. It's a community farm by Eden Streets that grows fresh produce.
And we have radishes, and then we have tatsoi.
And donates them to Catholic Community Services, where about 200 families experiencing homelessness or those who can't afford to pay for food use their pantry.
It's a community farm. And because it's a farm, it's directed by someone who knows how to grow things and knows how to grow a lot of it so that these large amounts of food can actually go to those most in need in our community.
Farmer Carl works with the group Eden Streets that helps create farms like these with social missions. He rounded up support and volunteers and has been building this farm since July of this year.
This lot just lay dormant. So all the leaves and the trash and the trees started growing up through the cracks.
Now there are boxes with produce growing and rows of crops.
I made a pesto with the tops.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Volunteers make this farm possible.
Brought a lot of hope in just my personal life, but I feel like it's brought hope in helping our community, helping to know that like all of us can provide food and all of us can work hand in hand together.
With the goal of continuing to help people.
We're giving them a pathway out of poverty. And we're using Mother Earth and this power that comes, I call it life force, that comes from the earth to create food.
Farmer Carl tells me the goal is to transform this space into a place where those looking for employment or someone experiencing homelessness can find work, get paid for their time, take fresh produce, and gain new skills to help them restart their lives. If you want to learn more or get involved with Grow Ogden and Eden Streets, you can find the links to do that at our website, fox13now.com. In Ogden, I am Maithili Gubi, Fox 13 News, Utah.
We might not be thinking about the gardens anymore, actually cleaning up the yards as those leaves have been falling, and we know we're just buying some time before we really start turning that corner and seeing more winter weather. A little taste of it here with the storm that moved through over the past 24 hours. Barely though bringing rain in the valley, snow in the mountains, but temperatures have been dropping where, again, looking at today's highs in the 50s, we've seen about a 20-degree swing. Currently in Salt Lake City, we're at 40 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. We've been seeing the showers lingering on. Rain in the valley, snow in the mountains, snow levels getting down to about the benches, but the showers beginning to push away. So we're waiting for that first snowfall where, at least at the airport, we get a measurable snowfall where we haven't seen it yet. On average, though, for tomorrow's the date that we typically do see our average first snowfall. Now, the earliest occurrence, as we look back at the record books and at history here, September 17th, 1965. That's the earliest that we've seen snow measurable at the Salt Lake International Airport. Last year, we saw snow back in October. Of course, this year we've been seeing some storms rolling through October, but again, most of the snow has been piling up in the mountains. That's what we saw from this storm, where we've seen anywhere between 2 to 8 inches of snow for the mountains of northern Utah. Now, St. George, you might see some sprinkles here in the overnight hours, but really it's going to remain dry. No big storms to be talking about, even moving through the weekend as we look at our computer models with our chances of precipitation. Next week might be a little bit active with some scattered rain showers Tuesday into Wednesday. Now, for northern Utah, we could still see some showers tonight, so that's why we got that little bump up early Wednesday morning, and then quickly we're going to see some improvements really starting off for your morning commute. Looks like it'll be clear and remain clear for the rest of the week, also through the weekend. Maybe isolated showers next week. No big storms to be talking about here looking ahead. We've got this front as it's been, again, marching towards central and southern Utah. That's where we're seeing the showers right now. It's particularly between Beaver, Cedar City, but even through central Utah, we're seeing some light activity. Now, we've been holding on to a line of showers that's moving through, but really even over the past half hour, you're starting to see it dissipate, where the lake was kind of giving some enhancement with that colder air moving through, but we're bringing the drier air in and turning off the showers, where we could see some lingering showers here for Utah County. But waking up tomorrow morning, we're pushing away the clouds. We see the sunshine, but boy, we've got the cold, with temperatures starting off in the 30s, as we'll see highs only in the 40s here along the Wasatch Front, also mid to upper 40s through central Utah. So you got the sunshine, you got some canyon winds in St. George, as we'll be looking at 60s through Friday, and then for the weekend, upper 60s to 70 degrees looking towards next week. Now, for northern Utah, again, we're getting rid of the rain, snow in the mountains. It's gone tomorrow. We've got the sunshine and keeping it mainly clear with just a few clouds on Friday. By the weekend, we're into the 50s and seeing 60s in the forecast at the beginning of next week.
Utah quarterback Bryson Barnes has had quite the ride this season. This past weekend, he threw for 161 yards and a career-high 4 touchdown passes. Fox 13's Andrea Urban spoke to him and his teammates at practice, who say they're all proud of him.
Bryson Barnes went from backup quarterback to a starter. He then earned himself a scholarship and now has a C on his chest.
As much as it's an up and down kind of thing with him, even with just people talking bad on him and then being on his side and then bad again, I mean, I got a lot of, I'm proud of him, you know what I mean? He's taken a lot of ridicule, but he still sticks it out, and that's why he's at where he's at right now.
Bryson threw a career-high 4 touchdown passes in the Utes' win over ASU.
Bryson is the epitome of, grit, hunger, a leader. I couldn't be more prouder than him, because you see a guy that works hard day in and day out, no matter what the circumstances are. He, gets booted down on the depth chart, or he back to being a starter. You're gonna get the same Bryson. That's gonna be a leader, and you want to go to war with him. I'm just happy for him and the QB room to rally behind him as he's been taking charge. So I'm proud of Bryson.
How are you feeling after the game that you had, setting records for the school and also for yourself? How are you feeling when you look back on your performance?
Yeah, I feel good about it, especially with the type of offensive production we had the week before. Definitely good to kind of get the energy back into the offense coming into a big game this week. So yeah, it's a great feeling to have.
With the Utes, Andrea Urban, Fox 13 Sports.
You can watch the Utes and Huskies play right here on Fox 13 this Saturday at 1:30. Well, RSL kept their season alive with a win over Houston to even their best-of-3 first-round playoff series at 1 game apiece. Jefferson Savarino tied the score on a clutch free kick to force penalty kicks. Zach McMath made a big save on the first PK. Then RSL made all 5 of their PKs, with Diego Luna scoring the game winner to force a decisive Game 3 on Saturday in Houston.
You want to put your best PK takers first, second, third. When I said, Chicho and Dami, and then it was Sava. Those are the 3 guys we definitely want to take PKs. And then I asked Luna, do you want to go 4th or 5th? And he said, I want to go 5th. This moment isn't about technique as much as it is about belief that you're going to score the goal. Diego stepped up and scored the most clutch PK for this group.
I think it's just the confidence in going up there and knowing what you're going to do. And I walked up to Zach right there when he gave me the ball, and I said, let's go to Houston. So I think it was just having confidence and just putting it away.
Love the confidence. We'll be right back.
We're out of time, so QuickCast is next.